Welcome to another episode of The Crowded Booth. I'm Bryce Koon, and this time I'm alongside Trent Griner. And if you tell by the hat, it's a special event here as we're talking about the PBR World Finals that kick off tonight around 7 Eastern on CBS Sports. And Trent, it's going to be a fun one. But if they're going to want to watch this alongside this, you're going to have to watch it on YouTube, Facebook. If you want to listen to the car, maybe you're watching on your phone in the car, probably shouldn't be. You can listen to this in the car on iTunes or SoundCloud as well. We want to thank you for tuning in once again. We're going to get started here. Moe's Barbecue, great place. Trent, you and I have had a lot of conversations here. I've eaten here a bunch of times. Just really good food. A lot of TVs if you want to watch whatever kind of sports you're watching. But Trent, as we jump in here, PBR World Finals. First of all, give a background of what exactly is the PBR and how did it come to be? A lot of our audience, a lot of the viewers, not necessarily familiar with bull riding in the professional realm. But give a little explanation of what does it mean and how really important it is.
Yeah, so bull riding has been around for decades, been around for a really long time, but it's always been a part of rodeo. But in 1992, Jerome Davis and 19 other guys were in a hotel room in Scottsdale, Arizona. They were on kind of the rodeo trail, and they decided, why can't bull riding be its own sport? We've always been a part of rodeo. Why couldn't we be a standalone sport like football or basketball or baseball? And so they all pitched in $1,000, and so with $20,000, the Professional Bull Riders was started, and since then it's kind of grown and morphed, and today it's one of the fastest growing sports. The audience is even more mainstream than you might expect. And it's really grown quite quickly. And now that we're at the finals, so the finals conclude sort of the bull riding season for the year, and it is the culminating event of the year. It's almost like the Super Bowl. It's like the World Series of bull riding. It is a chance for guys who are pretty close to the top to overtake the leader and win a world championship. It's another event for guys to just make some more money and kind of put their name out there a little more and get some more riding done. And it's a massive event that's taking place from the 7th through the 11th this year in Las Vegas at the Thomas and Mack Arena, and it's the biggest thing in bull riding all year.
Yeah, it's the Super Bowl of bull riding, to say. And one thing as a person who has not followed bull riding my entire life, to be able to see, it's also gotten picked up by major networks. Of course, this weekend, or this whole week and into the weekend on Sunday, it's going to be on CBS Sports, which is no small network, and that's huge and really awesome to see. Different sports, not just the mainstream football, basketball, baseball, and hockey, the major four. You talked about that. What do you think has been one of the leading factors in it growing as fast as it has?
I think something that's helped it grow is the fact that people have sort of realized that these aren't just a bunch of backwoods boys that are jumping on bulls and just kind of this ragtag group of guys that are just doing this for fun. People are starting to realize these are actual athletes, the bulls and the riders, and when they're realizing that there's it's one of the biggest adrenaline rushes you can get to both see and to be on a bull. But watching a man who most of these guys are around 5'6", 5'7", 140-ish pounds, and so you see a guy that size on the back of a 2,000-pound bull, and they battle it out for 8 seconds. It's man versus beast, and that draws viewers once they realize that it's not just sort of some backcountry thing. It's a real professional sport with guys putting their lives on the line every time they climb on a bull.
Yeah, I know we've talked a bunch of times about different riders, and you're always like, that guy's 90% metal at this point, and just at what risk they put their bodies. Talk about some of the risks that involve that. We've talked to, just you and I before the show, football is a very dangerous sport, and all the things that happen today, but it's different. It's a whole different level, as you learn more about it. What is some of those dangerous things that you've seen happen in the arena, and just different things that have happened in bull riding that's maybe separates it in a different caliber of difficulty?
Definitely. Well, the worst thing that can happen really in a bull ride, one of the worst things is if you get hung up. And what we mean by that when we get hung up is you're really the only thing keeping you on the back of the bull is a rope, and that rope's wrapped around our hand a couple of times. And if your hand gets stuck in it and gets caught, you get what we call hung up. And at that point, you see guys getting sort of spun up in the air around the bull. He's getting stomped on. I got my worst injury in bull riding that way. I got hung up, and the bull stomped my right knee, and he gave it to me. And that's really getting hung up's the worst. But it's pretty often you'll see guys go down, and the bull may turn on him, and while he's trying to run away, may horn him and catch him a little bit and throw him, and that's really where the bullfighters come in. If it wasn't for bullfighters, there'd be a lot more of us dead and hurt than we are, because those guys put their lives on the line every time for us. So those bullfighters, and you'll see it in the PBR World Finals, the three guys out there Frank and Shorty and Jesse are just the pinnacle of cowboy
a lot more important than people may
exactly.
see. Oh, there's those guys on TV.
You know, they're huge, and so I think they save our butts a lot from getting hurt. But you see a lot of, and Dr. Freeman, who's the sort of the team physician for the PBR, talks a lot about it. You see almost sort of like car crash style wounds in professional bull riding, where you see a lot of broken bones, you see a lot of concussions. You see a lot of torn ligaments, because the force that's involved in that is huge. I mean, it's not just one man and another man. This is 2,000 pounds that we can't control, and if it stomps on you, it's going to get you. I think most people that know me know I'm a big J.B. Mooney fan. The first professional ride J.B. Mooney ever had, that bull stomped him. It broke all the ribs on his right side and lacerated his liver. So you get some pretty traumatic injuries off the bull riding.
It's a tall task to go in and continue. And we talked about a lot of. You were telling me a specific rider this weekend is going in with a torn MCL. A torn MCLs, even in football, and this is no shame to football players. Some of the toughest guys out there, but that's going to keep you out 4 to 6 weeks, and these guys get back on it and continue to go. And I think that's just speaks volumes about the toughness of the sport and the reality of what they're doing. And they make pretty good money doing it too, and obvious reasons why, laying their body on the line is. We're going to transition into kind of a preview of what we're going to see Wednesday through Sunday. But first, Trent, talk about Moe's Barbecue. We're here in Rome, Georgia. Fairly new place here in Rome, Georgia. Obviously a chain restaurant, but it's a good place to come get some food, some wings, and watch sports. I mean, it's a good place to hang out in Rome, and I've enjoyed it. I know we've come a couple times. It's been a fun time, and man. Underrated wings.
Absolutely.
Some underrated wings. That's
incredible smoked wings. The first one, and the one that I think is possibly the biggest story to ever happen in bull riding, honestly, Chase Outlaw. I believe it was July 23rd. But I know it was during Cheyenne Frontier days. He was on the back of a bull, and unfortunately, a pretty common injury that happens with bull riders is because you're trying to stay sort of over the front end of the bull. Sometimes guys will get caught sort of leaning that way. The back of the bull's head will hit the front of your head and knock you out. Chase caught the bad end and ended up getting in like 30 plus facial fractures. They had like
people. That's 30. Let's say that again. 30 plus facial fractures. I mean, that's just not something that you pop right back up from.
No, he got busted up, but he had several surgeries on that, and he went from, at the time, he was 76th in the world. When he got back and started riding again to now, he's number 22 in the world.
That's crazy.
So the jump there is insane. That's almost an unprecedented jump in terms of world positioning and ranking, but Chase has a whole lot of try in him. You can't keep him down, and he's a guy that's coming after it. And he won the Velocity Tour finals event, and gave him earned him the right to get into the World Finals. And I'm telling you, he's gunning for it, and he has been on a hot streak like we haven't seen. And so I think going into the finals, Chase Outlaw, he's my one to watch to win the event. Now, to make it clear, you can win the event and not be the world champion.
Yes.
So just winning the event doesn't make you the world champion. And the world champion might not win the event itself. It's all about points at the end of the season.
Almost kind of like NASCAR.
It's very similar to NASCAR.
Very similar to how NASCAR
all points
works.
based.
Yeah.
So I would really look for Chase to do that because he has been on a hot streak. But to come back from, he missed the first 6 months of the season where he was out for his third reconstructive shoulder surgery. Guy's been battling injury like most everybody in the sport. Everybody's hurting in some way. They're all battling some injury. But to come back from 6 months like that, to have that catastrophic injury, to do like what he did and come back from that, and you see a difference in his riding. He used to not ride with a helmet on. He's got a really nice new 100X helmet. But he's handling business, and he's really showing that the bull rider's got a lot of toughness, got a lot of try in him, and if you get back on it, I mean, he's getting after it. It's impressive to watch.
And that's impressive to see. I mean, not only the fact of just the jump in positioning and ranking, but the fact that he came back. I mean, July, that was 4 months ago, and now he's positioning himself one of the hottest bull riders right now in the whole circuit. And so I think that's awesome. Not only the toughness aspect, but he's got a legitimate shot to win this, like you said.
He really could.
That's going to be awesome. You talked also about the bulls are athletes too. What are some big-time bulls that are going to be in this event?
So your top 3 bulls in the world right now, you're looking at Pearl Harbor, you're looking at Sweet Pro's Bruiser, and really those 2 are actually the ones to really look for. There's a couple up top that are good, but really those 2 are kind of battling out for the top 2. Pearl Harbor is yet to be ridden this season. He's got a 100% buck-off streak. I mean, JB's ridden him a time or 2 and really given him a run for his money, but I mean, Pearl Harbor's impressive. And Bruiser he's consistently one of the best bulls in the world. I mean, he's right there. So he's been ridden, I want to say it was 3 times this season. They're the 2 bulls to really be watching. The other bulls, they're pushing pretty good scores, but these 2 are 46-point bulls, and that's pretty impressive to keep putting those numbers up. So,
and you and I've talked about off the air, like, it's a whole different aspect of just people think, oh, it's the riders. There's a whole different market, business with these bulls itself. Talk a little bit about the other aspect. We talk, everyone seems to know, there's riders that they make their way up, but talk about the bulls. How do they get to this level? Yeah,
so these bulls are essentially sort of like racehorses. They're considered athletes. They're taken better care of probably than most people's pets. These bulls are worth a lot of money. Some of the biggest bulls are worth $500,000. But they have their own feed. They have people whose entire jobs is to take care of the bull and transport the bulls to different places. I know stock contractors that do therapy with their bulls. And they have full spectrum of care for their bulls, and they're taken care of, and they're even drug tested to make sure that everybody's kind of on an even playing field with what's going into the bull, because the bull is a big variable. What the bull does can determine largely what the outcome of a ride is.
Yeah.
But these bulls they're the best in the world, and they're 2,000 pounds of pure athleticism and muscle, and they're smart. That's what made bulls like Bushwhacker so good. Was a lot of them develop their pattern, and you tend to know, okay, when this bull comes out of the chute, he'll jump twice and go left or right. But there's a lot of bulls like Bushwhacker used to do where they can feel you. They're unpredictable, and when they felt you on their back in certain ways, they would move in a way they knew could get you off. So these bulls are smart. A lot smarter people give them credit for, and they're coming out gunning for money just like the riders are, because those stock contractors make money off of the bulls doing well. So you got 2 athletes going at it, and one's got a whole lot more size on them than the other.
And you talk about 2 athletes. I mean, that's what the sport of it is. When you have a smart bull like that, that's able to feel where the rider's positioned on them and try to buck them off in the best way possible to get under that time limit. That's what makes the sport out of it. I think, like you said, a lot of people come in thinking, oh, bull run's just a bunch of good old country boys just hopping on, but it's really not. I mean, it takes a lot of skill, also a lot of preparation. And we talk about different sports and thinking of film-wise. Well, I guarantee you these guys are out there, going through, well, this is this bull's routine when he comes out, and I'm going to try. And so a lot more goes into this sport than a lot of people give credit for. Talked with Mason Waddell, who's a big fisherman, earlier on an earlier episode. He said it's almost the same thing. Fishing's all these sports that are not mainstream still requires a lot of skill. And you think about it, how do you get better at, per se, baseball? And this is what one of the guys said on the show I had. How do you get better at baseball? You are going to continue to practice. If you want to get a better hitter, you got to keep hitting. Well, if you want to be a better bull rider, you got to be more well informed of this is the bull that I'm riding. What are his tendencies? You got to kind of know the lay of the land, where you are, and everything. And so it's going to take a huge thing, and it's a lot of preparation goes into stuff. And it's not just like you said, not a bunch of guys just out there, shooting the breeze, having fun. It's actual skill and a lot of preparation that goes into it. And I think it's a lot of things that maybe the crowd that is dedicated to the PBR knows that by the book, but viewers who are not into it, people that want to get into it, need to understand this is a sport and it's taken seriously. And I think it's one of the beauty of things like this, to get to do a show about it, informs people of. I mean, that's one of the things people are like, oh, I didn't know that, and that's huge as well. As we get into the last part here, and as we do like a little final take, what do you think? Tonight through Sunday, It's going to be a fun weekend event up there in Las Vegas. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of good riders, a lot of good bulls. Let's give your top two. Who are your two guys that you feel like at the end of on Sunday are going to be the winner of this event?
I've got, so going into it, got to consider Keiki Pacheco, like you said earlier, does have the torn PCL and MCL. It's going to affect his riding. He's still riding. He's the current world number one. But right behind him is Jose Vitor Leme. And I got to say, Leme is my pick to win, to be the world champion, just because he's been riding real hot lately. He's number two. He doesn't have a whole lot of points to have to cover to edge out Pacheco, because there's 3,300 points up for grabs in this event. And he could easily do it. So I've got him. I got Leme winning the world championship and being the world champion. But for the event title and winning the event, I got to say I'm going to go with Chase Outlaw, just because there's a lot of guys ahead of him in the rankings. But to mount a comeback like he's mounted and to just try as hard as he has, I mean, his whole attitude has just been have fun and ride my bulls, and he's done it.
And to cap off a year where you talked about first 6 months out with the shoulder reconstructive surgery, then 30 facial fractures, and then come back and win in Las Vegas on the biggest stage. It's got to give him a lot of momentum going into next season as well.
100%. I think that he's going to try as hard as he can, and all the guys will, but I'm pretty sure that you'll see Chase Outlaw finishing up toward the top.
Well, it's going to be a fun one, and I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be able to tune in all weekend long for this event. I know it's going to be on CBS Sports. I know you're going to be watching. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm excited. So thanks for coming on once again.
Thank you.
Make sure to check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. He's on Twitter as well. If you want to give him a follow on Instagram as well, we'll be providing coverage all weekend long. It's going to be a fun one on CBS Sports. Thanks for tuning in once again, and make sure to stop by your local Moe's Original Barbecue and get yourself some wings. And tune in. CBS Sports starts tonight around 7 o'clock. It's going to be a fun one.